What's up, guys? Philip at Trade Genius. Hey, in this video, I want you guys to be aware of some underlying price action that you guys will want to be aware of. It's going to probably pull price down. I know we're in a decent move up here, but you need to be aware of that. So let's dive into that in this video.
Trade Genius.
Guys, really briefly, if you want to trade with us, check out this fall special. That's going to be this $3.99 package one. I think you guys will really enjoy getting in the room, trading with us, and learning the techniques that we use. So check that out. All right, so our daily chart on Bitcoin. So there's a couple things I want to point out. We're having a nice move, and we'll talk about the close or the levels we want to see accomplished today by the end of the candle today. As we progress in this video, but we're in a rising wedge, which is bearish, right? Rising wedges are bearish, falling wedges are bullish, so keep that in mind. We do have our shorts are elevated. That's always been a fairly bullish case whenever we have the short open short positions cross up over the longs. That's always been pretty decent fuel the last 3 or 4 times that's happened. So that'll create the potential for a short squeeze. That being said, we are driving up into this 7,500 level. Expect some resistance there. Now, what you want to be aware of if this wedge starts to break down is the level below that's probably going to get tagged with a high degree of probability. And what you want to do is you want to look at the Bitcoin futures charts. Now, we talked about gaps, Bitcoin gaps on the futures charts, and why that happens because they close on the weekend, whereas Bitcoin continues to trade. So you end up opening, if you have a big move over the weekend, you end up opening higher or lower, you create a gap. So this line here around 7,045 is going to be the area that I would look to play a bounce off of if price does roll over. And as you can see, sometimes it can take a while to do that though. So don't think this is going to happen right away, but just be prepared that if you do see price moving over that ascending wedge break, that's where we could go. So back over here was a gap that we created around 73.80. Now we've closed that gap. The low of that bar was 72.70. And so, if you measure the gap from there, that's been closed, but that took a better part of a month. Now, sometimes gaps don't take very long. Sometimes they close in a few days or a week, or sometimes in a couple days. We had a gap over here back in July 6th. That only took a day or two to close. We had the gap down here at 58.94, and that didn't really close until back over here on August 14th. So, sometimes they can take over a month, sometimes they can take a couple days. But you just need to be aware of where they are because it's most often the case is that they're going to get filled. They almost always do. So just keep that in mind. We may see a pullback to that 7,045 level. But the first thing we're going to want to see, though, is probably this ascending wedge breakdown. So what's the important levels for today for the bulls? Well, you're going to want to see, we did eke out a new high this morning on the daily chart, so that's cool. But we want to see a daily close. Actually, we want to see an hourly, a 4-hour, and a daily close above the previous high of 73.39, so call it 73.40. If we can get that today, that would be very bullish for the bulls. A close above this upper part of this ascending wedge is going to be very bullish and violate that pattern. But we are heading into this 7,500 area, which is going to be pretty bearish area. And also keep in mind we're approaching the 200-day moving average on the daily chart as well as this trend line. So we are going to see some resistance here from the bears. I still think that because of the elevated open short positions, this is a potential for a short squeeze. Most people are not expecting that. There's a lot of bearish sentiment still, and when you get those situations, oftentimes you can get the opposite expectation of what the majority is looking for. So even though you might see some resistance here, again, this week we're looking for a push higher. We are already seeing that. So there you go. Keep that in mind. Keep that level in mind below of that Bitcoin futures gap, and that way you're prepared for what's coming up. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. Ring that bell if you're on your mobile. We really appreciate all the views and the likes. And I'll see you on tomorrow's video. Take care.
Trade Genius.